Hi Lexi, what are we working on?
Sales.
That's right, and anybody can do them, right?
Yeah.
Cool, let's get to it. And here's my project. I have a deck and I put this temporary rail up, but what I want to do is I want to make some steps down here. There's my dog, and I'm just going to do this video to show how I make the steps. So it's March 7th, it's about 30 degrees out, it's beautiful. We're going to do step by step on how to make the stringers and the whole process. Thanks. The first step is measuring how high the steps are going to be. So what you do, you want to come out for what their total run is, and I'll go on that in detail. And when you get that run, you want to put something like you can do a 2x4, or I'm putting a level. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure it's level, and I'm going to get the distance from the ground to the beginning of this level. So I'm going to measure that really fast, and we'll come up with the number. Okay, we're going to explain how we calculate the rise and run for the stringers. So I made a picture here, basically where it's the deck and down there is the ground. And what the first step is you need to measure from the top of the deck to the ground where the last stringer goes and comes down to the ground. So the best way to do that is what I showed in the beginning of the video, is put a level and get that approximately where we're going to end up and see what the measurement is. So for our case, we got the number 43.5, and that's our run. And when we went down to the run and we measured it, it was actually 31 and a quarter. So the basic math and how you calculate it is 31.25 was from the ground to the top of the deck. So you divide that by the number of steps per your code, which is 7, and that gave me the total number of rises. So I got 4.6, which rounded to 5 rises, or 5 steps, but you use the deck as your last step. So what you do is you divide 31 and a quarter divided by your 5 steps, and that gives you your rise, which is 6 and a quarter. So that's basically how we got the rise. For the run, it's a little bit more simple. You can use it based on the material you're going to use for your step. In my case, I'm going to be using 2x6s. So 2x6s are 5.5 inches wide. So 2 of those, and then so I'm gonna have a little overhang. So that's where the 10 7/8 come. And the last number where we got the 43.5 is basically the 4 runs at 10 7/8. There's 4 runs and 5 rises. The 4 times the 10 7/8 is what's going to give us the 43.5. So I hope that makes sense. Take a look at it, but that's how you do it. Okay, now that we have our rise and run, we're just gonna write this down so you guys remember. Our rise was 6 1/4 inches, and our run was, we're gonna do 10 7/8 inches. Okay, so we'll just mark that as rise and run. So now that we got that figured out, we always want to start with what we want to do, the run on the long side. So what we want to do is we want to set this at 10 7/8, and for the rise we're going to be doing 6. Let's just make sure that 6 1/4. So now that we have that set up, these are stair gauges. You just simply put it on the outside, and then what we want to do is we're going to pull this towards the end of the board. We're going to start tracing it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I don't have anybody hold the camera. So basically I'm just going to be drawing a line. See how it holds it in place, and once when I do the line, I'm going to come where the line stops, and I'm going to be doing it again. I'm going to be doing it for 5 rises. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we should be all set. Okay, so as you can see, I traced the stringers, This can be a little confusing when you look at it, just the way the angle is. You can't really tell like where the ground is. But it's actually helpful if you go up and down and you look at it and just kind of visualize it being lifted up. And this is actually the ground, because if you remember, we started with the run first. So what we're gonna have to do, and I'm probably not the best to explain this because I'm still pretty new at it, but all we have to know is we need to we have to remove your thickness of your tread board on each of this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to mark the line all the way across, perpendicular, going horizontally across the board, just to continue that, to make this as the ground. So you're gonna imagine this line's the ground. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go up the thickness of the tread board and draw a line all the way across. So we're gonna come here, we're gonna go and all the way around. So let's just say we're gonna be using thickness of, let's just say 3/4 inches. So we're gonna imagine that, and we're gonna take that off the top and draw all the way down, and that's gonna be our cut, okay? What that does is essentially it moves everything down the thickness so that you have equal steps all the way going up. Again, watch other YouTube videos. I'm not, this is the first time doing it. So if you just listen, just like in life, if you just listen to the rules, and keep on doing it, it'll eventually click. But right now I'm just gonna listen to that and see if it works. So right now I'm gonna make those lines and I'll come back. So I made the measurement and I went up 1.5 inches. So here's my ground, right? And okay, go right ahead. Make sure you wear gloves. Yeah. Okay. So that's the ground. So like I said, you're coming up 1.5 inches and making that line. So I just simply made a line across, which is nice, and like I said, it's going to bring down the steps because it's the thickness of the tread, remember? So I'm going to go ahead, and now this is where it connects to the deck, and now I have to remove the thickness of my that's going to be my I'm forgetting the term. It's going to be the backboard, right? So like when you have the steps here, you have the tread, but you have the backing so that it looks like a uniform stair. I can't really explain it, but anyways, we're going to be coming the thickness of that. So I'm doing 1/6, so I'm going 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be removing it. So I'm going to make a draw line, all the way across, horizontally across on the same angle, measuring 3/4 in, and then going down to account for the backing on each board. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll come back. Okay, now I'm gonna make the cut. So I would recommend when you make the cut, just think about the angles and how you're gonna do it with the horseshoes and whatnot. So it's been a pretty long day. I just got done cutting the stringers. It probably would have went a lot faster, but my saw broke, but I made 5 stringers. They came out pretty good. There's a little errors here and there, but overall freehand, not too bad. All right, this is after a full day of work. So as you can see, my ground's not level. So near the house, it's much higher than where the deck ends. So what I did was I built up, so I put the first stringer in, right? And I put it at the level that I wanted to. And then I worked each stringer. So I put the first stringer in, or the second stringer in, and then I just leveled it. So incrementally, I basically built up. So everything is level, which doesn't look like it because just the way that last paver, I'll go back a little bit so you can see the last paver is just a little bit higher, but as you can see, let's see if you look over to the left, you maybe got like a 7.5 inch step, and then over there you got an 8.5 inch step for the. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some dirt up to this right stringer and do some finishing work. But overall, it's very sturdy. I'm just going to finish up the fastening, and we should be good with moving on to the next step. First test of the steps. Got the weapon.